If you're feeling lost in the dark right now, this video might save your life, and this channel might save mine. I've had many points in my life where I was convinced it was over, but nothing was more convincing than when my FND started. All of a sudden, I found myself having 10 to 20 seizures a day, lasting anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour each. No matter how hard I fought, the waves kept coming. Until I just stopped fighting. It felt freeing. It was like a dance with something greater than me. And this is what changed everything for me. By the way, if you see me have a tic or a mild seizure, it's just my neurological disorder called FND. It's non-epileptic and it's totally normal for me. We're just going to roll with it. So more on that in the pinned comment, but for now, let's get into it. Maybe you've been told all your life that you're too much, or maybe you believe that you're not enough. Maybe both of those things are true. If you struggle with an invisible illness or a mental illness, you may have felt dismissed by others, friends, family, maybe even medical professionals who told you that you were making it up, seeking attention. And at some point, maybe you even started wondering, what if they're right? Yeah, I've been there too. It hurts, doesn't it? I spent years, decades even, fighting my own shadows, thinking that was the only way to survive. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be a fight? I know that might sound ridiculous because I used to think so too, but hear me out. Depression, trauma, shame, these things don't just sit quietly in the background. They may feel quiet at first, but they slowly eat away at you. And sometimes in ways so subtle you barely notice, they take over. They twist your thoughts. They change the way you see the world. They convince you that there's no hope, that nothing will ever change. And when you're in it, those lies feel so real. It's like you're stuck in a fog. It's so thick you can't see more than a step ahead. And no matter which way you turn, everything just looks the same. Empty. Bleak. You try to find a way out, but the more you search, the more lost, exhausted, and confused you feel. And meanwhile, the world just keeps going like nothing's wrong, like you're the only one who's disappeared. I've had many points in my life where I was convinced it was over, but nothing was more convincing than when my FND started. All of a sudden, I found myself having 10 to 20 seizures a day, lasting anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour each. Full body convulsions, collapsing in public, and brain fog so bad that sometimes I just couldn't speak at all. Doctors had no answers for me. People were scared to come near me, like I might break. And not only was I terrified and confused, but I felt completely helpless. I was a burden on those I loved. I hated it. I hated me. For years, I had been fighting it, the fear, the shame, the internalized emotional pain. I plastered on a smile and I just kept marching on, all the while scolding myself for not doing better, thinking that if I just tried a little harder, if I wasn't so defective, things might be working out for me. Even when the seizures started, I kept bracing myself. I kept trying to shove it all down because that's what I was used to doing. I thought maybe if I could just control it, if I could just hide it, things wouldn't be so bad. But of course, no matter how hard I fought, the waves kept coming. Until I just stopped fighting. At first, I didn't have a choice. My body completely took over, and I was just along for the ride. But then I wondered, what if this wasn't my body betraying me? What if it was actually trying to tell me something? So instead of resisting, I started to listen, to allow. And when I did that, everything shifted. The seizures didn't magically disappear, but they changed. They turned into something more like a flow, like the flow of words out of a loved one's mouth, a message in the language of energy. It felt freeing. It was like a dance with something greater than me. The more I started to lean into the discomfort that came up in my life, the more I realized I could survive it. My emotions were never out to destroy me. They just needed to move through me. And that's where you come in. You've probably heard this before, and if you have, stay with me. But your reality is shaped by what you focus on. Pain, joy, love, whatever you give attention to becomes the world you live in. But ignoring pain doesn't make it disappear. If anything, it gives it more power, because we're ignoring it out of fear of feeling it. And that fear just fuels the fire. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but our emotions are not the enemy. They're messengers. And when we fight them, when we try to run away from them, as human as that is, we just end up hurting ourselves more. Telling yourself things like, I don't have time to feel this, or I shouldn't feel this way, is like shutting off your GPS and then wondering why you're so lost. You might think you're in control, but all you're really doing is making it harder to find your way out by choosing your ego over the intuitive guidance that lives inside of you. Emotions need to be felt. And when we stop resisting them, when we actually allow them space, they move through us. And then they pass. I won't lie to you, when you've been suppressing things for a long time, opening that door can feel like a flood. The longer you've been avoiding it, the bigger that dam gets. And that's why most people avoid it. But what so many don't realize is that almost as quickly as that wave comes, it goes. It may feel intensely painful for a little while, but it doesn't last too long before you start to feel lighter. And that lightness you feel, that is you. That's who you are underneath all of it. Feeling anger while judging yourself for being angry is agony. But feeling anger while you're reminding yourself, this is normal, this is healthy, this is temporary, that is freedom. And this is what changed everything for me. Realizing I could sit in discomfort, no matter how intense, turned my life around. Not just emotionally, but physically. Our bodies remember the pain we refuse to face. Trauma gets stored in the nervous system, and when you feel as deeply as I do, it can show up in ways you never expected. Truthfully, it'll show up in your life no matter what, if you don't feel very intensely, or if you feel so intensely sometimes you can't speak, like in my case. Our emotions affect us no matter what, and if we refuse to face that trauma, then it just makes our life harder. That's not to say that it's not a human response to want to avoid discomfort, but the most important thing is to recognize that we're doing that and to see maybe how can we approach this situation differently? How can we approach the situation in a more helpful way? And emotions showing up in your life can look different for everyone. For me, it meant seizures, a complete loss of control over my own body. It was surreal, and at first I felt like my body had betrayed me. I was angry. I was scared. But looking back, I see it now. My body was never trying to hurt me. It was trying to release everything I had kept buried for years. I didn't even realize up until that point that I had buried anything. And the more I resisted, the worse it got. But the more I surrendered to the seizures, the more I learned to flow with them instead of feeling like I was drowning. And when I stopped bracing for the next wave, when I just let it come and trusted that I would still be there on the other side, something changed. I freed up space in my mind, my heart, and my soul. And slowly, the weight began to lift. And one day, without even realizing when it happened, I started noticing things that I hadn't in years. The warmth of sun on my skin, the beautiful melody of the birds chirping in the trees, the way my loved ones' eyes lit up when they laughed, the quiet beauty of just existing. When you stop running from your emotions, when you let them move through you instead of getting trapped beneath them, the world doesn't change. but your experience of it does. Yeah, it's really hard to accept when you've been fighting it for so long, but the truth is, the darkness is not here to consume you. It just wants to be seen, held. And when you finally do that, it softens, like a scared child finally being comforted. Because those dark, painful parts of you aren't demons or dragons to be slayed. They're just wounded pieces of you, waiting to be loved. I know this might sound impossible right now. Trust me, I know what it's like to be convinced that nothing will ever change. And maybe a part of you is thinking, sure, it worked for you, but you don't know my story. You have no idea what I've been through. But if you're still here, still listening, there is a small part of you that wants to believe there's another way. And there is. And believing in it is the first step. So thank you so much for being here. And stick around. We're going to explore this together. Because the shadows only have power if we keep them hidden. And you, my love, you are not alone. I am living proof that even in the darkest places, there is light. Without the pitch black of night, we would never see the stars. So come with me, and we'll find the light together.